sometimes it's like, take me out this car, put me in an Uber, please.
That many of us, would have taken, that step.
Like Joel James saying, you ain't sneezing, it ain't season.
But
before I let go.
Stripes and plaid, and it's like, I can do what I want to do, and it looks great.
Process. Is it best for them to acquire, a PR person?
It's great, and that you can do it. My father was an entrepreneur. My father's an entrepreneur.
At this age now, I'm kind of like, could I move back? Before I was like, I'm never going back.
So, hello, you came back to join us? Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Sadie Says It. Can you talk, y'all? Look at that. Sadie Says It All, Meet the Woman Behind the Business series. This is our season 4, and I'm so excited. We have some amazing guests for you this season. So if you are watching us on the GIM Network, thank you so much, because the GIM Network, honey, we are the home for Black women, okay? We have a lot of programming that features Black women. We support Black women. It's either directed by, starring Black women, written by Black women. So we believe in supporting that, okay? And so if you're watching us on GIM, make sure you head over to my YouTube channel, Sadie Says It All. Let me just focus, y'all. Yeah. All right, so head over to my YouTube channel, Sadie Says It All, okay? Because this episode will actually air there in about a week, okay? So you want to make sure you go there and you subscribe, because I have the website links and sometimes discount codes for you there. So that is definitely somewhere you want to be, okay? All right, so now, like I said, y'all, we have amazing guests here, okay? And of course, today, this season, we got the fire, as we always do. These women are always amazing, okay? And today, we are welcoming Yolanda White. Yolanda is the founder, creator of Miss Landa's Cakes, LLC, Chicago. Welcome, Yolanda. So welcome, sis. Now, do you prefer to be called Landa, or should I say Yolanda, or?
Yolanda is perfect.
Yolanda. Okay. All right. Just wanted to make sure, girl. All right. So now, Yolanda, I did just mention to them that you were out of Chicago. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I always like to ask my guests, where it is that they're from, but being that is a part of kind of like how your business name was set up. So
Mm-hmm.
something about Chicago, sis. Like, what is the culture and the diversity like there? Because that is somewhere I have yet to visit. I am a loyal fan of the chai. I watch chai all the time. But you tell me, sis, what is it like?
Well, the first thing I would love for people to understand is stop watching the news. Stop watching the news about Chicago, right? Because that Chicago is not Chicago. Mm-hmm. Chicago, oh my God. Chicago basically is like down south up north. We were one of the major seats for the Great Migration here in Detroit. So everybody here, basically all the Black people, are related to somebody in Tennessee, related to somebody in Mississippi, related to somebody in Alabama. I just went to Tennessee for, a quick road trip and found out I was related to half of the people that I met,
Right.
And now I'm thinking about, maybe there might be a Miss Landa Cake South. You never know. But
Chicago.
But
you know what? I wanted, and I don't want to cut you off, but I wanted to ask you that, specifically ask you about the culture and the diversity there, because it's like you said, people have such a different kind of image of Chicago, you know what I mean?
Right.
And they don't get probably what is the larger portion of it, you know what I mean? And that's why I wanted to specifically ask you that, because I want you, represent your city, girl.
The largest portion of Chicago basically looks like me, African American, hardworking, common sense, like hard scrabble, no nonsense type of people. We all remember being raised by grandmama and them, because that's how we say it up here. Yeah. And the food diversity is like incomparable to anywhere, any other city. You know, there's everybody comes here and settles and they create their own neighborhood, but then they become part of this huge collective that is Chicago. You know, you go through, like, stay away from the Magnificent Mile. All you're going to do is spend money. But if you know somebody, you can go into, like, you know, the neighborhoods. You can even stay at a Best Western by Midway Airport, not O'Hare, because everything costs 3 times as much out there. And you're riding through the neighborhoods. Every single neighborhood you go through, you're going to smell different foods. You know, like outside on the south side, where I am, where I'm from, you are going to smell barbecue every single weekend, every single season. There are men here who will shovel away the 3-4 feet of snow to barbecue.
Okay.
And you go up into the north side neighborhoods, it's mostly like Palestinian, Pakistani, Indian, Muslim. You smell all of those curries, you smell all of those different spices. You go into the little village, back of the yards area. It's the Pilsen neighborhood. It's mostly Latino. First of all, you're going to know you're there because you're going to see art everywhere.
Oh, wow.
There's no such thing as an unattractive abandoned building. They're all murals.
Wow.
And everybody has turned their yard into a farm, you know, and then you'll smell all of those things. You'll hear all those spices. You'll hear the music, you know, and yeah, Chicago, and it's the shy, not the chai. Chai is tea.
Sorry. Yes, honey, fix me. Because let me tell you something. I'm from a little town in South Carolina. And, and you know that I used to say the shy to my husband, and I felt like I was saying it wrong. And I was like, am I saying it wrong? And I was like, I never hear them say the title of the show. I said, so I don't even know.
That's right. They never say the title of the show.
The title of the show. So I'm like, is it the shy?
Yeah.
And I know we say Chicago, we don't say Chicago. I said, but I don't know. But anyhow, but yes, girl, nevertheless, I'm a fan.
Yeah, you were saying it right before. It's the shy.
Yeah. But no, it's good to be able to listen to people speak about their neighborhoods and where they're from and what that's like, because like right now, like I'm from South Carolina, you know, so I'm country all day, even though I've been living in the Northeast. I lived in North Jersey for a number of years, and now I'm in Pennsylvania. And like North Jersey, there was a lot of diversity there. You know, you would have your, you know, where I lived, like in Patterson, you know, Puerto Ricans were, you know, always, and we had Dominicans, and everybody, you know, had their, you know, beautiful to see all those cultures. And like you were saying, Pakistani neighborhoods, we had those. But where I live now in Pennsylvania, there's not a lot of diversity. And don't get me wrong, like I'm only like 25 minutes out of Philadelphia, but just where I am, there's not a lot of diversity here. And I was telling my husband, I was like, I miss that. I miss the cultures, you know, different neighborhoods and different, like I miss all of that. And yeah, but anyhow, child, we ain't here to talk about me. So but it was, you know, good for you to paint that picture of Chicago for us. You did that very well.
I love being able to, like, people from here, like I was born in the 70s and I grew up here, lived on the South Side all my life. And I actually also lived in the projects for about 10 years. And even with that on the news, oh my God, it's terrible. There's gangs, there's drugs, blah, blah, blah. But it was such an incubator of amazing city life. You know, yeah, they were gangbangers, but these are old school, you know, people. They took care of women. They took care of children. There's no such thing as an innocent bystander. You know what I mean?
Right.
And they knew they were up to shenanigans. So they would tell, like, I was a teenager, living with my mom, well, and her husband and my sisters, and my little brother. And they would tell us in the mornings when we're leaving for school and work, y'all might want to find somewhere else to be later on tonight because it's about to go up over here. So there was no, like, random fatality. They did what they were going to do, and they kept it to themselves. Like,
Right.
they hosted back to school drives, haircuts for the boys, hairdos for the girls.
Right.
They used their ill-gotten funds, and they made sure every single kid in the projects, and I'm talking like two 16-story buildings with 10 apartments on each floor,
Right.
a cluster of 50 two-story apartments, and another cluster of row houses. Every single kid in our neighborhood got a full backpack and shoes every
Right.
single year on the first day of school. That sort of stuff never, ever, ever made it to the news.
Yeah, not. Of course not, because it wasn't fitting into, the
Their
image
narrative.
exactly that they wanted out there. Absolutely.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's usually how it is though. And
Yeah.
girl, we can talk all day about that. Absolutely. Absolutely. But what I want to ask you, now I've never had the pleasure of sampling any of your cakes or your treats or anything, but I have to tell y'all, I did a feature on Miss Landa's cakes in the most recent issue of the Meet the Woman Behind the Business magazine. Okay.
Mhm.
And let me tell you, as I was going through the pictures and the images, because she did provide the images for me to include, and I'm just looking like, everything looks good. Like everything looks, and I know y'all get a glare there. Everything looks amazing. Everything looks tasty, and the descriptions and the names of the food.
Mhm.
So tell me, sis, like, how did you get started on your path or your journey to becoming Miss Landa's Cakes LLC? Like, I mean, was it just a love of yours? Did you start off like baking, cooking with family, grandparents? Like, how did that start for you?
I did. That's exactly right. My mom, admittedly could not bake. And but she had an enormous sweet tooth, and I inherited that from her. But we went to my grandma to like get the cakes and stuff like that and the cookies. And she used to make ice cream, she used to make candy. And being next to my grandma, who, I'm very much a grandma's baby, as far as I'm concerned, when she was up, that's when the sun rose, not the other way around.
Right.
And and just learning to bake from her. And she's from Memphis, Tennessee, by way of Haiti. And learning to cook from her, the house always smelled amazing. And then I'm at home with my mom, and I'm like, why do we have so many cans? Why do we have so many boxes? What's going on around here? And so, and then my grandma introduced me to Julia Child, and I fell in love with that girl power story, because Julia Child basically, elbowed her way into Le Cordon Bleu because it was a Caucasian military male institution for cooking. And she was like, I'm a woman and I don't know how to cook, but I'd like to learn. Yeah, I got 75 grand. What you gonna do? Turn it down? Let me in here. And so I grew up watching her on Channel 11 get drunk while she baked. And I was like, she looks like she's having an amazing time.
Right.
And then fast forward, I'm a young mother now with my sister. We're living in an apartment. I'm an extreme insomniac. So I used to just sit up and bake cookies all night because I had nothing else to do. And we would bake like 5-6 dozen cookies, every night out of boredom. And because we grew up not having junk food, so we always understood if you want sweets, it's something you make. And one morning we woke up and all of the cookies, it was like hundreds of cookies, they were gone. And I was like, girl, did you eat all them cookies? What's wrong with you? And we had a little brother. He was like 10, 11 years old. He was going to grammar school across the street. We found out that he had taken all of the cookies to school and sold them. And he came back home with a bucket of quarters and dollar bills. And I was like, she was upset with him because he took all the sweets out of the house. And I was like, whoa, 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 wait a minute, because this feels like an enterprise right here. Like, you want to take cookies out the house? Okay, congratulations, you got your first job. You can keep a little bit of that money, but you got to go to the house, to the store, and get some flour, go get some more butter, go get some more sugar,
Yeah.
And he got his first job. I had my first foray into entrepreneurship. And so that just became our thing. And then in 2011, I was a surrogate mom for my best friend, and she and her husband thanked me by sending me to Le Cordon Bleu, which had been a dream of mine my entire life. And I was so grateful to be there that I soaked up every single thing. I made mentors of instructors, chef instructors that I did not have classes with, because I just wanted to know everything from everybody. And I fell into pastry because the French Federation came to our school because we were part of the international chocolate competition. And at that level, I was just a certificate student, but you had to be a degree student to be on the national team. So when I got my certificate, I was like, okay, thank you, best friend, for this stepping stone. I'm going back to get my degree because I want to be over there with the Canadians and I want to be over here with the Frenchmen. And, I want to have my name on the trophy that comes back to the school and takes up the entire hallway. And that's pretty much how I got started. And then along with that education came nutrition classes. And I started paying attention to how we eat, as a culture, like all of the fats and the processed foods and the stuff like that nobody keeps up with the fact that grandmama got her yams out of the ground, but now ours come from a can, and nobody knows what happens between the ground and the can. All we know is we're getting these foods that we think grandmama and them ate, but now it's so processed, it's so stripped of all of its nutrients, and so I have my business is based on the nutritional content of dessert.
Oh, okay. See, you know what? And I didn't know that exactly. But now that I know that, that's awesome. That's a whole other angle that we can approach whenever I'm sharing something of yours. I can make sure I mention that, drop that little, tidbit.
Exactly.
But it is just like you said, though, because like I was born in the 70s too, and being born and raised in the South, and grandma and them growing a lot of this stuff, and even if grandma didn't grow it, somebody was growing it. We had the vegetable truck, the fruit truck, came around, and we would get our stuff off the truck. And it was literally farm to table, literally the garden to the table.
Exactly.
And we knew there was no pit stop in between,
Right.
So it is a lot different now, kind of like you said, people thinking that they might be eating healthy or the right way, but in the end, how is it being preserved, or what is going on
Exactly
to your table? So that is an excellent point to make. Like, what's the in between?
Exactly, because why can you buy now a 3-liter bottle of pop that is like $1, but you have to spend like $5 to get a half gallon of juice?
Girl, and that's why people try to raise up. Anyhow, some other people, sometimes try to say or trying to put it to you that it doesn't cost more to eat healthier. And I was like, have
it
you
absolutely
seen
does.
prices in these stores? I was like, what store are you shopping in? Have you seen the prices in Whole Foods and other stuff? I was like, please explain to me where it is that you going, that the stuff that's bad for you isn't less expensive than the stuff that's good for you. Because I mean, anytime I'm on the haul of, buying my selected healthy foods, and I'm gonna eat clean, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. Anytime I'm on that kick, says my grocery bill. Like I'm looking like, well, what did I get?
Exactly. Exactly. So that's why like I don't have like set flavors on my website as far as my menu, because I shop the farmers markets. So whatever is in season, that's what I make. So, I just been gifted a case of sweet potatoes. So I'm about to start experimenting with sweet potato ice cream, sweet potato pie, pound cakes, sweet potato pie cookies, because I want to implement as much nutrition as I possibly can. You know, like Skittles has the right idea when they say taste the rainbow, but not with the Skittles. Like all of your food is supposed to be deep in color. It's full of antioxidants, it's full of iron, potassium, all of the vitamins you need. And like I've always been a nerd of like across the board. And being a food nerd is like my favorite thing to do. So I have like these little experiments around my house. I'm looking at one now. If you leave an organic potato to its own devices, it will sprout. And if you just put it in some dirt, it will make more potatoes.
Right.
So I'm thinking, shouldn't your concept be if this thing can re-propagate itself and live off of itself completely, can't you live off of it? You know, and it's just a matter of knowing where you're getting your food, you know, questioning the stores. Like if you go to a store and everything is full of, you know, preservatives and colors and artificial flavors, ask the manager and tell the manager, we don't want this over here because they don't have that over there. They have a variety over there. Why do we have to live in a food desert and you're selling food? You know, it's not.
Absolutely. Presenting the option, presenting that option, you know.
Because they're only going to give you what they think you want. And if you don't say anything, they decide that that's what you want.
Yeah, exactly. And there are a lot of neighborhoods, unfortunately, that don't get the options. Okay. And we'll leave that right where we placed it.
Exactly.
You know? Leave it right there. All right. So now, sis, with all of your, you know, knowledge and your food wisdom, and looks like you have everything covered from donuts to cupcakes to brownies to, sis, what is your specialty? Like if somebody had to come to you and say, girl, we about to have the biggest throwdown ever. You got to make your top notch number one, Miss Landa, you know, you about to do the mega millions with this one. What what would be your top pick to actually make? Like, what's your specialty?
My go-to has become mini bundt cakes. And they're like, they look like a whole pound cake, but they're portion controlled so that if you eat one, your eyes say, I'm done eating, but your stomach is like, damn, for real?
Yeah.
And I love, love, love natural flavors. Like I don't ever just bake, for instance, a straight chocolate cake. I make a pot of coffee and instead of water, I use the coffee. Or I make a mug of hot cocoa and instead of water, I use the cocoa in the cake. And I use black cocoa powder because it's closer to its natural state than the Dutch processed cocoa powder. And it's a lot, there's actual nutritional value in the black cocoa powder where there's none in the Dutch process.
See, girl, you got me sitting here like, can she package me a mini bundt cake and like FedEx it? Because and I'll gladly pay for, like, girl, like I've had mini bundt cakes before, and yes, they're tasty, they're good, especially when it's done right. But you sitting up here talking about instead of using perhaps the water, using cocoa or using cocoa, like I don't think I've ever had the pleasure of having that. So
well, good news. I successfully shipped. My daughter lives in Newburgh, New York. And she's a new mom, so I'm a brand new grandmama. And she's also a Marine Corps veteran. And she's been away from home longer. And she's also a pastry chef. She graduated from CIA. I graduated from Le Cordon Bleu. But she's fine dining. So she doesn't get to do like the down home stuff that she grew up with for me. So I successfully shipped her a pound cake with a glaze. So I've decided that since it made it to her unscathed, then if I just work on my logistics as far as, you know, eliminating all human error on my part, then I'll be shipping within the next 30 days.
Well, girl, you know what? Well, then I will be receiving within. Because, girl, I love, and I've been trying to do better, but like I love cake. Like I do love cake, and I purposely don't buy it because I don't want it in my house because I know but it's like you said, with the mini bundt cakes, it's portion control, you know. feel as guilty. I can eat a little. I won't even eat it all in one sitting if I feel like practicing that self-control. But but like, eat a little bit of it and then I don't feel as guilty because the only time like I absolutely lose my mind with cakes and stuff, I bake a lot of sweet potato pies around Thanksgiving. I'll bake like 5 pies and my husband don't eat them. My daughter might come one. I'll send one home with her. And then girl, believe it or not, I will eat the rest. And it's real sad because I do that. I will eat.
But you know what you can do? Like when you do bake that many, wrap them up and freeze them.
Yeah.
Or you can slice them and freeze the slices and just put them in different spots in your freezer. So when you get that craving, you have to go look for it. And then when you find one, it's like, okay, here's my snack. Like I know how I am a complete devil's advocate when it comes to dessert. When somebody tells me, oh, my sugar, I can't have dessert. Oh, I can make you something gluten-free, or I can bake for a diabetic. I can bake for somebody with blood disease. I worked at a level 1 trauma center for a while as a post-surgical patient's chef. And first of all, it was a no salt facility, so there's like the first health aspect right there. Right. But then I also learned to prepare food for people who were having the maxillofacial surgeries, like having to have their palate and stuff reconfigured because of maybe an accident. Right. For people who had weight loss surgeries, like the gastric bypass, starting them out on the liquid diet and then moving through the pureed and the chopped and the, all the way back up to regular food. So being able to bake for every diet type is like a huge lifelong challenge of mine. And every time I get it right for somebody, I'm like, I just did that.
Wow. Well, that is a big, to be able to prepare foods for all of those different needs, you know what I mean? And yeah, that is major. That's major. There's a lot of science to it,
It definitely is.
Yeah, to be able to be successful at that. It's like you said, when you said, I did that. Yeah, you need to pat yourself on the back because that's for every win.
Yeah. Yeah, because I was just having a conversation with my son's mentor yesterday and how, it went back to the biblical times. We were talking about Adam and Eve and how she, depending on what your slant is, she was made to feel inferior because she could only speak to God through Adam. And now here we are as women with this lifelong embedded sense of imposter syndrome and this inferiority complex. Like we have to second guess ourselves while big upping, everybody else. Right. And when we do say congratulations to me, we have to like say it quietly because we don't want somebody to think we're conceited. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so I've had to learn, especially with a daughter, you have the right to take up as much space as you feel you need to. If you did something amazing, say it as loudly and as often as you possibly can. Make them know and don't let them forget. And I have to take that advice for myself.
Yeah, no, I agree. I know for myself, how can I put this? Yeah, it took me a while before I could accept praise or compliments from people for pretty much anything. It was just kind of like, I was very like, oh, well, like I was uncomfortable,
Right.
And then it took growth, before I was able to say, well, thank you so much. Like acknowledging, that I worked hard to get whatever outcome or result that was. And I'm proud of myself, and
exactly.
I should be proud of myself, and now it's like, child, I do something, I'm like, yeah, the first issue's done, it's completed.
Exactly.
Magazine of people's faces, look.
And it's like, right, because like when I got my first corporate order organically by myself, and I almost killed myself to get it done, but it was for a very, very prominent children's hospital here. And it's where like children go who have like very severe illnesses and things that they need multiple surgeries for. And it was for Valentine's Day. And I fed 550 of their staff by myself in my humble little kitchen that looks like, it could be in a witch's cottage in the woods by myself. And I only say that because I'm used to working in big industrial kitchens where everything is shiny stainless steel and, you know, everything is so brand new and convenient. I live in an apartment, you know, and to have been able to do that and get it there and out on time, like I was waiting for them, you know, and everything was beautiful. Everything I tasted as I, you know, went along, every time I changed the flavor, every time I made a new batch. And I was like, yep, this is amazing too. Yep. Oh, I think I forgot the salt in this one because, you know, you don't want to get into the habit of doing something and then get so relying on your muscle memory and making a mistake and then ruin your, you know, the whole thing.
Right.
So when I dropped it off, I was like, I just got a corporate client by myself. I can't afford a commercial. I don't have any airtime. I don't have the most amazing Instagram feed. I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing on TikTok. And I
Girl.
did it. And I'm so proud of myself.
You should be. You should be. And you know what? It's funny that you should say that. And I said I was going, y'all, I said I was going to keep this episode short, but y'all know me by now. Anyhow, so, so, it's funny that you should mention that as far as your Instagram feed and maybe how active or how, you know, how large it's grown or whatever's going on there. And I made this point whenever, I was starting this magazine. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
My thing was, and I've said this before, it's almost as if a lot of people don't even want to see us as Black women small business owners unless we've already gotten to a certain level or a certain status.
Right.
Like they're not even checking for us, you know?
Right.
And I was like, but I said, but that's not the way it should be. I said, because at the moments when you need that encouragement, that visibility, a platform to be seen, I said, is when you're trying to come up. You're the grassroots
Right.
trying to get there. I was like, so if I'm already there and here you come with a platform, I mean, yeah, that's nice and all, but that ain't necessarily when I need it. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So I'm like, whenever, you know, I connect with women online, these Black women small business owners. When I connect with you, if I connect with you, I'm not checking for how many followers you have or any of that, because this ain't even about,
Right.
it's not about that. It's about a bigger picture here, you know?
Right.
And to me, I'm just like, anyhow, what? But, you know, because like some people get so like, whatever. But it's just not my thing necessarily
Yeah.
to be chasing down someone who has already gotten to a certain level. Now, if I happen to connect with someone that's already at a certain level and they can kind of come in and help the other women that I have here get to another
Exactly.
level, then that is great. You know what I'm saying? But the cover of the magazine will always be a Black woman small business owner who is trying to get there. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So that's what it's all about, you know,
Yeah.
trying to offer up that visibility and us, like you said, clapping for ourselves, giving us ourselves, you know, each other that encouragement and that push. And I
Yeah.
found that, you know, that's a good segue into my next question for you, actually. Okay. Now, with me connecting with you on Instagram, I found that you have such great energy. And it's weird. My husband was like, and you can tell all of that from just the way that you communicate with people online. I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
like I absolutely can. And I wanted to ask you the question, like, what do you think it is about? Because we know your food's amazing. I ain't had it yet, but girl, I've gone on your page and I
The
see.
keyword is yet.
But I haven't had it yet. But child, them 30 days, I'll be a month. But like what do you think it is about you and your business that keeps your customers coming back, you know, coming back to you?
One of the things that I've learned is a lot of times people have different mental pictures of what it means to be a family-owned business. People see when I go out, my youngest son is with me because he's the last one at home. I'm this close to being an empty nester. So he is my sous chef, he is my dishwasher, he is my trunk loader, you know, and he is my cashier when we're out. He does my packaging. And then my oldest son, he's a teacher, he's a Tiny Tykes football coach. He teaches robotics to kids, and he got it sponsored by Lego. He teaches Mandarin Chinese to students in China, in Chengdu, because he went there for a summer and fell in love.
That's awesome.
When my daughter came home for Mother's Day, she was here for a week. The second day she was here, I had a catering gig, and she was right there with me. I had gotten her a company apron and everything. So when I say we are a family-owned business, that is exactly what I mean. Like when I go out, you see me. When I'm making deliveries, my youngest son is my camera person, you know.
Right.
And I come from family doing stuff, you know, with and for each other. You know, like even in my company name, Miss Landa Cakes, it came from, it's a Southern thing. Like you being down south, you know, you have adorable small children in the family. The little boys are, you know, like for instance, if his name is Reginald, like my brother, little Mr. Reggie Boots, little Miss Landa Cakes,
Yeah,
you know, and that's the name that I brought into my business. That's the name that I was given to me by the older relatives in my family. And I think that, and the fact that I am nothing without good customer service. I have to have good customer service. I have to be on it when you have a question. I have to be on it when you call out of the blue and you have a question, because while somebody else is waiting, trying not to seem thirsty, here I am. I'm like, hey, hello, thanks for calling Miss Landa Cakes. How can I help you? Because I don't want you to figure out what's going on down the street. You stopped here, so stay here. And then when you get what you want from me, come back here, because I know somebody else in your business, in your family, has a birthday, an anniversary. You know, it's back to school. You know, you have a senior, somebody getting ready to go off to college. I want to make sure that your family becomes acquainted and fond of my family, because that's what we're going to do with your family.
Right, right. Yeah, well, that's a good answer, because that's exactly what it is. And that customer service and the way your rapport with your customers and how you relate to them, because like you said, somebody else gonna have a birthday or something else coming around, and the first thing we do, that's the best promoting or marketing you can have, is just that word of mouth. You know, somebody saying, yeah, remember that cake we had from Miss London, you know, and that's exactly how you keep and create those relationships, keep that business. And because like you said, somebody's sitting over there trying not to seem as thirsty, and they ain't picking up that phone, or they trying to, you know, let it go to voicemail, and they get back to
Right. Like some companies have literally have a 48-hour callback policy. And I'm like, what are you doing for 2 days? Well, this person probably needs something tomorrow. What are you doing for 2 days? You know, of course, like being a home baker, it is extremely hard to have a 24-hour turnaround. But if I can, I'm gonna, you know.
Right.
But if the only reason I'm going to turn you down is if I know I can't, because I don't want to, you know, give you something that I've slapped together. I don't want to take you something that you can see was done at the last minute. If I can't make it amazing, I'm going to be honest with you and say, I'm so sorry, I won't be able to do it in that time. But I can recommend, if you will give me your information, and I will pass it along to, and I will start calling around. I know, you know, Black female bakers in my area. I belong to an entrepreneur community, and I send, it's another brother, you know, he's from here. I send them to him. You know, I'm not gonna let you like, oh my God, really? Okay, well, no, I will figure it out for you. And then this person and I will get back in touch with you and make sure you're well taken care of.
Right. And people remember that. People remember that when you go out of your way for them, especially when they press for something. You know what I'm saying? So they remember that. All right. So we have a tradition here on the show. Okay. Now, we have a little game we like to play with our guests called Culture Tags. Hello. Yes. So the way the game works, for anyone who's just watching for the first time, and just so y'all know as well, as I always do, at this point, you've seen the different images of Yolanda's cakes and her cookies and her items that I, have placed throughout the video. You will see those here. But of course, you want to make sure you follow her on Instagram. So I will have her Instagram handle there as well for you to follow her. Okay. And we're about to get into a game of culture tag. Now, the way the game works, okay? There's an acronym that is on the front of the card, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I will then begin to give you clues as to what that acronym stands for, okay?
Okay.
The trick is I can't say not one word that's actually in
Gotcha. Oh my goodness. Okay.
the struggle, child. All right, so we have different categories. All right, so we're just gonna play a couple of cards here, okay? I told y'all I
Okay.
was gonna keep y'all long, but y'all know when the conversation get good, it just get good. All right, so
Right.
so there it is. Now, so the first one is words to live by. Okay.
Okay.
So this words to live by. Okay. Now here is your clue. This is what they say about our skin because we look a lot
Black
younger.
don't crack.
Yes, yeah. It's
That was
all
a
about the
given. That was a
culture.
given. Being dark skinned gets, you know.
Child. It's all about the culture. Ain't nothing gonna come hard here. You watch, you watch. All right. So let's see. Okay, so you born in the 70s too. All right, so we're gonna give you this one too, Carl. You know.
Okay.
All right, so this is songs and lyrics. Okay.
Okay.
So this is songs and lyrics. All right. So this song is by Shaka Khan and Rufus. Okay. And it's
Oh,
when you want to hear nothing bad.
tell me something good.
Yes. See that? See that says, girl.
I heard as soon as you said Shaka Khan, the dun, 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 and I was like, what are the words?
Come on, Gen X. We in here, y'all. We in here. All right. Okay. So we're gonna play one more card. All right, we'll play one
Okay.
more card. Which one should I go with? I'll go with this one. All right. So this one is also song and lyrics. All right. Now, this song is by Erica Badu. And child, it's what she telling her man. Telling him that he needs to pick up the phone
Ah.
and gosh, now I can't say he needs to pick up the phone and perhaps have this person pick him up.
I guess you better call Tyrone.
Yes, honey, yes.
Oh my goodness. I'm like, Erica Badu, I'm actually going to see her next month. I better have my stuff together.
Girl, have you seen her live yet?
No, next month will be my first time. She'll be here on the 11th.
Child, I saw her live years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And when I tell you, first of all, that heifer can sing. And when we say
Oh my
heifer,
God.
y'all know that's a term of endearment.
It
That
definitely
heifer can
is.
sing. And like to see her live, like she is freaking incredible. That show was
Wow.
on hell though. Ooh, child, that show was long. And we were sitting there, and it must have been like a Wednesday night. We had done worked all day, and then we had to get up and go to work in the morning. And me and my girlfriend sitting there like, waiting for Tyrone, waiting for next lifetime. And she was like, I'll never forget it. Erica Badu was like, what's wrong with y'all? She like, why y'all? She's like,
Like, y'all ain't doing no work. I'm up here working. Y'all should be cool.
She was like, oh, she's like, I forgot. It's a weeknight. Y'all, like she said the N-word, is tired, ain't you? Y'all tired? We sitting there like, yeah, she's sing next lifetime or something.
Mm-hmm. The closest I've ever come to seeing her live was watching her on Dave Chappelle's Block Party.
Oh,
when
yeah.
that came out. Oh my God, that was if you have not seen that, you have to find it. It's amazing. And then like one of the things that she crushed her and Jill Scott was that ideology that Black women in the same industry are supposed to be at each other. And they were like, no, this is my sister. The same thing they did to Patti LaBelle and Aretha Franklin, the same thing they did to Whitney Houston and I think Mariah Carey. There's room for everybody. You know what I'm saying? And I never, like being a Northerner, like above the Mason-Dixon line, we never had a set table because it's just everybody was always doing something at different times of the day. But then when I got into business And like my two mentors are Amanda Schomburg from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and Janelle Copeland from Glendora, California. And they instilled in me, where I didn't really understand it before, the concept of there's room for everybody at the table. So now my table is always set. You know, I invite people over. You know, there's always room for everybody to get something. I don't care what the industry is. There's no such thing as it's overcrowded.
And that's kind of like what I always say now is like, we've been conditioned by society for so long, especially as Black women, that okay, maybe about one of y'all can make it, but y'all all can't make it. That very crabs in a barrel type of mentality or stuff, that was conditioning that was thrown at us. And now I feel like we're in this movement now where we are kind of locking arms and we're saying, you know, collaboration, as you hear it all the time, collaboration over competition. And we are moving so much further, so much quicker, in such a better fashion than what we used to, because now we're seeing that, hey, just like you said, there's room at the table for everybody. We can all make it. We absolutely can all make it, you know? And what is for you, and it may sound cliche, but what is for you is for you, sis.
Exactly.
We can all get there, you know? Absolutely. Yeah.
Because like I make pound cakes, but there's a sister who owns a company here called Nothing Bundt Cakes. She makes pound cakes.
Right.
And she probably knows nothing about me, but I know about her because she's in my entrepreneur community and she keeps coming up. And so my thing is, okay, well, you know, that's what she does because that's what she does well. And she's found a niche. And I'm proud of her for having found a niche where I kind of feel like sometimes, you know, maybe my menu is too broad and maybe there's too much stuff on it, but I know who I serve. She knows who she serves. And those, you know, client groups may or may not ever cross. But if you want homemade ice cream, you know that she doesn't have that. If you know that you're in Tennessee and you want a pound cake from Chicago, I don't have that for you right now. So I would absolutely send you to her, you know? And so that's just how it is. Like, we're grown, you know, I'm going to be honest with you about me, you know, and I'm going to help you get rid of that. You know, I tried to support a Black business, but no, do it, because we're not all the same. You know, somebody who's running a business and they have like a stank attitude or whatever, that's not business. That's that individual person.
Yes. And it's like you said, like everybody, it's something different. You can even, I heard someone say something once, and they were, I guess, something like a business coach and this published author and all this stuff. And it bothered me. They were like, I'm sorry, but there are enough we already got enough candle business and enough body butter business. You know, they said that. And I was sitting there and I was like, I'm just saying, what if every cosmetic company what if the Lip Bar had said that before they launched this stuff? You know, there are so many, let me tell you something. People are somebody's out there looking for what it is that you got. All right.
Exactly.
Don't let some high-end, you know, business guru coach or something tell you that people don't want what it is that you have, when you know that some people actually do. Don't let that discourage you. Okay.
Right. It's like you telling somebody that their dream is invalid. And that's like, girl, you're a horrible person for being able to say something like that to somebody.
That bothered me to my core, because it was a Black woman, you know, too, that said it. And I thought to myself, I was like, well, she does know that there are a lot of Black women out there that are diving and working real hard, diving right in, working real hard at those exact businesses. So what are you saying? You know, I'm like, so what are you saying? You know?
Exactly. And then I think if people thought that way, we would not have Oreo, because Oreo is not the first chocolate cookie company. It was Hydrox. Hydrox came out first. And then Oreo was like, we can do that too. We can do the same thing, but we have marketing. We have a family aspect. We have a better flavor. And then because they had a bigger voice and they had more intention,
Right.
you know, Hydrox now is looked at as the generic chocolate sandwich
Yes.
because they were here
Yeah.
first,
Yeah.
you know. So I look at stuff like that and I'm like, I don't care if my next door neighbor starts baking. I'm still going to have my clientele. I'm still going to have, you know, my story. I'm still going to have me behind what I do.
And
she
that,
can do me.
and
She
I'm
can do
sorry.
what I do, but she can't do me.
Exactly. And that was the purpose too. When I started the whole Meet the Woman Behind the Business platform, it was so that people out there could connect with these Black women small business owners and knocking down the stereotypes. We are not all the same. We are very different. We come from vast, you know, backgrounds and different levels of education and still doing it. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Different paths.
Exactly.
You got some women out there that are single moms out there doing their thing. You got some women that, you know, are doctors and really established in that field, but yet their passion is this, you know, and this is what they're doing. And this is a way for people to actually connect with that woman behind the business. Because just like I was saying, like you could have two people out there that are making wonderful vanilla candles, you know, but someone could connect with something about you, you know what I mean? And maybe, you know, they might relate more to what your story is and kind of be more inclined to go that way. Or maybe they relate more to this person and maybe inclined to go that way.
Right.
So somebody making light of what somebody's business is when they're trying their hardest and they're out there going for it, that bothered me. But anyhow, but y'all, again, like I told y'all we were going to have amazing guests this season, didn't I? And didn't Miss Yolanda come through? Yes, she did. So y'all, I just want to thank you so much for joining us here on the show, sis. She is just.
I want to thank you so much for this platform. I have been waiting so long to get a chance to actually say to you, to your face, this is amazing. Like, in order for me to have been part of something like this, it took somebody like you with your exuberance and the way that you like make sure that everybody is recognized. You make sure everybody is recognized and you're bringing all of these different women together. There's no way in hell this would have happened like in real life at business mixers and meet and greets. It wouldn't have happened because in person, we're so afraid of having a business bestie because of what other people have taught us and what other people have made us think. And now here we are. I looked through the magazine. I'm like, I just had an instant message with this chick yesterday, and I just bought something from her last week. Michelle's Boutique. She is my absolute favorite designer. She is her own model. She is her own spokesperson. And her body is like mine. You know what I'm saying? And she works it, like work with an E. She works it. And I tell her that I'm in her DMs all the time, like, girl, ma'am, woman, you know? And the chocolate lady, oh my God, I salivate over her Instagram feed all the time. And I look at Get Carinated. You have no idea how many of her videos are saved to my workout folder on my Instagram. Like these women I never would have met in real life. And because of you, it's like being in this magazine. I have a very active imagination. Being in this magazine, it's like we're all sitting on a couch in a room, shoes off, feet tucked under us, wine, you know, some little stuff that I baked, and just kikiing and, you know, sharing business tips and, you know, contributing to each other's good vibes. You know what I'm saying? You can do it. Like some of us, I am a single mother of 5, and I have dodged all of those stereotypes. You know what I'm saying? Like I've never had to bail one of my kids out. I don't have, you know, a bunch of angry girls knocking on my door for my sons. I don't have any of those negative issues. And I did it by myself while struggling with homelessness when they were small.
Right.
And to be here now and to have all of these women that you have brought together saying, girl, I'm clapping for you and I'm so proud of you and I'm happy for you. And I can't wait until let me know when you're coming here and I'm gonna look you up when I get there, and mean it, because I've seen some of these get-togethers and I'm like, wow, I can't wait. I'm gonna be one of those, and like the get together in Houston, like this is really happening. She made this happen. And I'm like, I am so appreciative of you. I swear to God, whatever it is that you are doing, I want to be right there because I know that you're, there's Ebony, there's Essence, there's Jet, there's Meet the Woman Behind the Business. And that's just as far as I'm concerned, because there's no reason for the world to not understand that we are a viable community. You know what I'm saying? Like we have been contributing through history to the world. And for now, for you to be able to bring us all together and have the world recognize us, like, yes, a Black woman gave you the straightening comb, but look at what these other Black women are doing. You know what I'm saying? Yes, the Black woman made the baby bundle, the kangaroo pouch, but look at what these other Black women are doing.
Yeah.
And I thank you so, so much. I'm so happy for you and what you're doing. I speak nothing but unending success over everything you do from now on.
My God. I'm just so I'm just so, you made me cry. I'm just so humble and appreciative to all of you women that I've connected with, because I'm gonna tell you, when I first came up, and y'all, I know I told you I was gonna keep this short. I'm sorry. But when I first came up with the concept of doing this, first of all, just to let you know, if my mom would see that this is what I was doing now, my mother passed in 2017, but she would see that I'm doing this now, she would be like knowing me from a little girl, ain't no way in the world I'd be able to sitting up here interviewing anybody or talking to anybody about that, because I was a very shy girl, when I was, but I tell you, sometimes you go through certain things in life. I have to tell you, my younger daughter having autism, I started doing events that would support and create awareness for that. And that's how I even began speaking in front of people, saying anything, you know what I mean? And when I started doing this, or came up with the concept for doing this, I'm reaching out to you women, and y'all don't know me, and I'm asking you if I can interview you on my show, YouTube, whatever, and y'all don't know me. And everyone that I reached out to could have just as easily said, well, she ain't really nobody yet, so why do I want to waste my time to go on that? That could have very
But you
easily.
know what it is about you? You have what my mentor calls a know, like, and trust factor. You're not like, there is nothing pretentious about you. Like the way that you talk, the way that you endear yourself to the rest of us, and it's conversation. Like you don't sound scripted. You're not, like you cute as hell today, but you're not like, I gotta put on some makeup just to talk to her, because there were a couple of times you were on video and you're like, look, I just got out of the shower, or I just came back from my walk, and this is what I'm giving right now, because this is also me. And you're so authentic, like who would not want to sit and have a conversation with you on camera or off, like I've always also been very shy. I've never been able to like introduce myself to people. And watching your videos, I'm like, who is this? She's just talking like and I'm like, she must have 1 million followers, because she's just talking to us like we all, sitting next to each other on the couch. And it didn't matter to me. Like I went to your page and everything, like you're always in such a authentic space, like not necessarily a good mood, because real life isn't always rainbows and flowers. Absolutely. And there were some of your posts where you're like, you know what, y'all, I just really need some good energy. And even with that, it's not like a plea for sympathy. You are so real and so authentic. And that's exactly what it is.
You know what? I appreciate you, hon. And I feel the same way about you. And I love the way, like, there's this space here where, we all kind of gravitate towards one another. And when they say real, recognize real, I guess that's kind of what what that means. And but sis, we getting together in person. We're gonna make it happen. Now we're doing Houston this year, and then it'll be another location next year because this is only the beginning. And we're gonna all sit around and kiki and all of that. Because that's, for us to vibe off one another. We keep one another encouraged, you know what I mean? And that's important when you're in these trenches and you trying to get to the next level. Okay. All right, y'all. So I'm gonna spare y'all. All right. Now, again, thank you so much, Yolanda, for joining us. And y'all, make sure you follow her on Instagram. Okay, I have her Instagram information there. And make sure you follow me. Sadie Says It All. Okay, follow me so you can keep up with what's going on. You find out what guests are coming up, when those shows will be airing. Also, make sure you go to my YouTube channel, okay, and subscribe to Sadie Says It All, okay, because that is where you will find the link to the websites, all right, and you want to make sure you check that out. Plus, I usually hit you with a discount code on some lipstick or something, child. You know what I mean? So make sure you go there and you check, make sure you go there and you subscribe to my YouTube channel. And y'all, I think that is about it. So I hope you all will join us again next time. And again, thank you so much to our special guest, Yolanda.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. All right, I'll see y'all next time. Bye.